Well, Amy, welcome to SCAD, and
Thank you.
congratulations on your Outstanding Achievement in Cinema Award.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's been wonderful so far.
You starred in beloved musicals, dramas, and comedies, but W.C. Fields famously said never work with children or animals. I mean, what are you doing here in Nightbitch?
I'm working with children and animals, not following advice. I like throwing caution to the wind and taking on challenges. So it was a unique challenge for sure. It kept you very present and very grounded in the moment because you never knew what was going to be coming at you.
Well, you did a beautiful job.
Thank you.
Your magical realism film is completely enthralling, and your production company, Bond Group Entertainment, optioned the novel Nightbitch before it was even published. What about the manuscript was calling your name?
I mean, first off, the title pulls you in. It makes you, it has a catchy title. But also, really, once I got into it, and Rachel Yoder's narrative perspective was so specific. And I think what ultimately pulled me in, actually, is the moment she started talking about her relationship with her husband. And that's when I realized it could be such a multi-layered film, and there was a lot more to explore than just sort of the trials of motherhood. It kind of got into relationship, community, identity, and as it continued, it just kept exploring those themes, generational neglect or ancestral trauma, and like how we pass these things down, and I'm always really interested in that. And besides, it got to act like a dog, so.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So in addition to the psychological feats of this character, it's also an immensely physical role. I mean, you're digging in the dirt, you're howling,
Yeah.
eating from a pet bowl. I mean, none of that is easy.
I think being a dancer, I always kind of figure out how to physicalize a character. I think the hardest part actually was carrying a 3-year-old again. That was the most physical thing, is just
Like one hip or the other.
Exactly, especially when they don't want to be carried, because then you're sort of, it had been a while since I'd carried a toddler, so that was humbling in its own way. But yeah, it was very physical. But I always like that challenge of a role, sort of figuring out where that lives in my body and how I can breathe that organically into the character and the story.
If you could magically gift all of humanity with one of the traits of our man's best friend, what would it be?
That's a really good question. Like empathy. And I say loyalty, but it's a different kind of loyalty. It's a real kind of coming together as a pack and really supporting one another, like working in community.
In both Nightbitch and Big Eyes, you play a visual artist, and you are a painter.
Yeah, I have painted. I mean, it's not my first talent, but I really enjoy it.
What qualities unique to visual artists do you bring to your characters?
I think I've always been really interested in how we express ourselves. And, I like singing too. So it's all just a manifestation of expression. And even when I was a dancer, I wasn't the best dancer, but I always loved the story of the dance. And I think one of my dance teachers said, have you ever looked at musical theater? And I saw that as like a failure because I wanted to be a ballet dancer, until I started exploring it. And I was like, oh, this actually is much more suited to my personality and my strengths and the way I like to express myself. All of those things that I've done have informed what I do, whether it's process, work ethic, community. I love making the sets I'm on really communal, when that comes from working in theater, working in dance. Each actor is an instrument, right? I think of myself as an instrument. Violins can play a lot of different music, but they're always going to be a violin, right? Just recognize that you're enough.
You advise students to key into the melodic elements of dialogue, timing, phrasing, as you would in music.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially when you have like a long monologue or a space of time where you're expressing a lot of different ideas. It's really helpful, and something that I've really had to develop as well is just understanding pacing and breathing, like using my breath. I didn't realize until I was on stage a couple summers ago that I wasn't using my breath to the fullest of its capacity, and you could phrase it very much like music.
Enchanted, Disenchanted, The Muppets, Into the Woods in Central Park, and more. If you had to build a set list for an Amy Adams in concert, what tracks would make the list?
I do karaoke a lot, so I do have a set list, but it's none of my own songs. But if we're going to incorporate my own songs, definitely Me Party is a lot of fun to sing. It'd be really great if we could get Miss Piggy to show up, because that was really kind of a childhood dream come true. any of the songs from Enchanted. And then we'd throw in a little like Pat Benatar just to shake it out, or a little Joni Mitchell.
Doubt continues to grow in depth with every watch. Meryl Streep, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and you deliver a masterclass of acting. Looking back on that experience and everyone's profound reaction to it, what from that film still speaks to you?
Well, I mean, the experience of working on it was a masterclass for me. I got to go through rehearsals with Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and just being a witness to how they worked through a scene and watching them kind of play with one another and engage with one another and create discourse and create solutions. And it really was a masterclass for me. But I think the subject matter on doubt, I mean, that's something that I think is very human, how we sort of struggle through our own understanding what side of the story is the truth, and kind of how we exist and how we pull through our own faith, whatever it may be, when we're surrounded by questions.
Nothing was ever totally certain.
No. It feels like nothing ever really is. No.
So what's in the works now at your production company and for yourself? Which Amy Adams films might we be seeing next at our festival?
This past year wrapped a film called Flyr in the Sun with Taika Waititi, and then a film called At the Sea with Corna, and he did Pieces of a Woman, which was a beautiful film.
Yes.
So I just wrapped that this summer. Flyr in the Sun is based on a novel where it's sort of a dystopian society, and I play a mother of a young girl who goes to find a friend that is an AI friend. And then At the Sea is a story of a family where a mother has just come out of rehab, and she's sort of having to contend with the consequences and with regret and forgiveness of self.
So looking forward to both of them.
Thank you.
And I think we have a film to see and an award.
Yeah, exactly. I could talk to you forever. Thank you so much.
But I love having you here on campus, and we just appreciate everything that you've done, and just learned so much from you today, and I hope you'll come back.
I would love to come back. Thank you. Thank you for this amazing school.